Grand Rising, my name is Sheena with the Way of Namaste, and today I wanted to come on and share a Celtic Cross tarot reading spread. So if it feels in alignment, I invite you to soften your gaze or close down your eyes as we begin to turn into this sacred pause together, bringing more awareness into this now moment. And really checking in with ourselves. How am I feeling in this moment? How does my body feel? How does my mind feel? How does my spirit feel? Do I feel connected? Or do I feel fragmented? Have I been aware of the breath that flows through my body? Or has it been constricted? Have I felt tension any place in the body? And if you have, let's go ahead and send energy right into that spot where the tension is. And lovingly, we'll redirect the energy of this next breath right into that spot. And we'll set our intention to release any stagnation, any place where air has been trapped in our systems, in our lungs, in our throat, in our diaphragm. Just allowing it to move easefully, peacefully, just by becoming more aware and sending energy where energy feels needed, feels supported. Right now we dipped into Gene Key 7. This is the shadow of division, the gift of guidance and the divine expression of virtue. This is part of the codon ring of union. And this Gene Key speaks to the evolution of leadership. How we move from ego-driven, from mind-driven, into heart-driven, heart-aligned service. So in the shadow of division, we see the illusions of separation. Here, power becomes hierarchical, and control replaces trust. In the gift of guidance, leadership becomes relational. It listens before it speaks. It walks with others, not in front of them. In the city of virtue, we embody a leadership so pure that it disappears into the collective good, not needing any recognition, only resonance with the highest truth. And people are living in their virtue when they're guides to us. We feel safe in their presence. We feel their sense of responsibility, their ability to respond with virtue, with accountability, with the hive mind that sees for the highest and greatest good, the collective spirit, the spirit of humanity. This Gene Key is about leading from behind, and that's where the true sovereign empowerment lies, because that's how we empower others to rise. This is when the leader shows up as the listener. This is the guide who doesn't need the spotlight, but becomes the backbone of transformation by simply holding the space, by simply witnessing compassionately. Think about how it feels when you feel like someone is truly listening to you, when you feel really heard. Maybe someone's asking a lot of questions. Maybe someone's showing in their body language the care. Maybe they're showing the enthusiasm of wanting to hear more stories. The gift of guidance is when we surround ourselves with people who believe in our ability to overcome whatever challenges face us. They don't need to rescue us. They don't need to problem solve for us. They give us the confidence to believe in ourselves, to know that we are capable of overcoming any challenge that's come our way, knowing that it wouldn't have come our way if we weren't capable of overcoming it. And we can trust our own inner guidance system. And we can trust that of one another's. So that's the energies that we're in right now, is Gene Key 7. We've just made this pivot from Gene Key 33, the divine expression of revelations, the gift of mindfulness, and in the shadow of forgetting. And so here we come into the shadow of division, of guidance, of virtue. So we begin this reading at the heart of the matter, and it's with the world. You are completing a vast cycle, one that has taught you deep lessons in love, in loss, and in deliberation. There's a deep sense of integration here. You've gathered the tools, the wisdom, the scars, and now you stand ready to step into your next octave of expression. But the challenge presenting itself right now is the Eight of Swords. So there's still a part of you that feels trapped by circumstance or beliefs or by grief. The mind is looping. You still have the fear of getting it wrong, or of being stuck, or the fear of just not knowing what's next. And this is the voice of division, the shadow for this week. So the invitation is to notice. Notice where the illusion comes up. And intentionally choose a new thought. Fear, false evidence appearing real. So when the mind starts looping or getting stuck or getting into the fear place of not knowing what comes next, the invitation is to choose to believe that the next step will be presented to us with ease, with grace, with effortless flow. And we will be guided by a power mightier than us in the times when we feel weak. We will remember that there is an internal guidance system inside each and every one of us. And we've never been separate. The shadow of division is simply an illusion that somehow we have been divided. But we can remember there's only one of us here. So we can guide ourselves back into the truth. And when we see the virtue in others, or when we don't see the virtue in others, we can show up as the guide. We can show up as the virtue. And sometimes we will be placed in situations where there is no virtue so that we can be the virtuous ones. So where we're coming from is the strength. And I know that you've already had to prove your resilience. You've already tamed beasts within and without. Not through force. The strength card is about gentle presence. So the past reveals how much grace you've cultivated and how your softness has been your true power. What's coming up right now in our conscious awareness is the 10 of Cups. Your heart longs for harmony, for wholeness, for emotional fulfillment, and not just for yourself, but for others, for the earth, for the world, for the community. You're dreaming of a shared joy, of love as a sanctuary. And this is the vision that's guiding you forward now. So trust it, let it. What's coming up right now in the future is the Two of Swords. So you may soon face a choice, a crossroads, where your intuition must take the lead. The mind won't solve this. This is a moment that will require you to go inward and feel deeply, trusting that you already know. So don't rush this process and just allow the guidance to come. What we're unconscious of right now is the Page of Cups. So deep in that heart, there's a tender part of you that's still healing, that's still dreaming. Perhaps it's a younger version of you, a softer voice that wants to believe in magic again. This page is your inner poet, your artist, your inner child, and it holds the key to your creativity and love. So how are you feeling about this? The Querent is showing the Two of Pentacles. So it looks like you're juggling a lot. It looks like you're trying to find a balance between the practical and the mystical, the grief and the joy, the stillness and the motion. So this card reminds you, you are more adaptable than you know, than you've given yourself credit for. But it's also okay to ask for help and know that you don't have to do it alone. Our environment this week is the Ace of Wands. So we've got a full moon coming up on Saturday in Aquarius, which brings us to the end of cycles, which feels like where we started from. But it looks like also this environment, the Ace of Wands, is reflecting a new inspiration that's available. A spark, yes. A wave of creative life force, yes. Something surrounding you now. Something or someone is offering you a chance to begin again. So don't miss the sign. Know that this is your green light. Our hopes and fears right now is the Hanged Man. You may fear stagnation, but you also secretly long for surrender. And you can sense that something powerful happens when you stop pushing and when you let yourself be suspended in the not knowing. So this Hanged Man, this is the cocoon right now. And the invitation is to allow this stillness to alchemize you. Our outcome this week is the Ace of Cups, another ace, another message, a new heart awakening, a fresh wellspring of love, of intuition, and emotional renewal is opening. This is the virtue of Gene Key 7 embodied. It's an overflowing chalice that gives without depletion. And this is what sacred leadership is. It's one that flows from a healed, open heart. It's not loving with expectation. It's not putting things out there needing validation, needing a certain outcome. This is the highest expression of love, is unconditional love. It serves from the goodness of its heart. This is the divine expression of virtue. It's showing up to guide simply because you have the tools, the resources. You've been guided before. And now it's time to share with others who has guided you. Who have your teachers been? What messages have they shared with you that has helped you? And how can you share those messages to help others? So this Ace of Cups might be you. You as the messenger. You coming with a new message. You coming as the teacher, as the guide. Sacred leadership through hierarchy is not about leading from the top. It's not about needing followers or fancy check marks on our social media. The impact is in the cellular truth that we speak, because it's coming from the highest vibration of authenticity, when it's coming from the heart. And that's what this Gene Key is about this week, is speaking from the heart, living from the heart. Even when it doesn't feel like it makes any logical sense, because most of the time it won't. Because most of us are rewriting what makes any sense anyways. So this week, I invite you to be gentle with yourself. I know that you've been through a lot. And I know that you've been looking for guidance and hoping that it would show up as something outside of you. Sometimes it can feel like a letdown to hear that the answers are already inside of you. But this week I would really encourage you to look within, to remember that, and to make the space for the virtuous guide living inside of you to come out, to emerge, to share what needs to be shared through journaling, through mantras, through singing, through expressing, through moving your body, through conversating with a friend. On the way of Namaste, we have the listening path, a virtual temple starting next Tuesday, where we will meet for 7 weeks virtually, and we will go through the practices of Julia Cameron's book. These practical exercises that allow us to connect even deeper with our internal guidance, our intuition. Many of us on this path of spirituality identify as empaths. And many of us have been choosing to empathically connect with the suffering of the world, sometimes because we didn't know that there was another way. Once we learn how to self-regulate, we don't need to start expecting that from our environment. We can show up with those tools. We can show up that resourced. And instead of consuming from the environment, we can emanate. We can light up that same place with our effervescence, with our own charisma, with our own charm. Because it doesn't need to be depended on by anything outside of us. So this week, if you feel the shadow of division, ask yourself where you are cutting off a part of yourself that wants to be shining, that wants to be sharing, that wants to be connecting. Maybe thinking about the first time that part got cut off. Maybe allowing yourself a moment to be your internal guide, to go back into that memory, but now with you as you now. To hold space for that other version of you that didn't have someone to hold space for them before. This week, may we all remember that virtuous guide lives inside of us. But it's up to us to ask for help, to ask for support. So this week, if you feel like you need to ask for support outside of you, that's okay. Ask for support. Surround yourself with people that love you, people that care about you, people that remind you of your oneness. That's how you overcome the shadow of division this week. I'm sending you so much love. Namaste.